I'll tell you what not to do. Don't go to Upwork.com and hire a copywriter to write you a sales letter for $100 that you can then send cold traffic to and get rich in 3 days.
I'm a sucker for pain. I got the Skwad tatted on me from my neck to my ankles. The pressure from the man got us all in rebellion.
All right, welcome everyone. My name is William Steele. This is a live episode of Wicked Words. So Wicked Words is a show I do that's all about copywriting, how to get better at copywriting, how to write better copy, everything about copywriting basically, including hiring. Okay, because that's a big component because, well, even though as a company owner, you should get at least somewhat decent but with copywriting, because it is sales in its purest form, and the more you know about sales and selling and why people buy stuff, the better you're gonna be, most likely. So I come across this a lot, and a lot of people Google this that are starting a company or have a company or whatever. They go to the Google and they type in how to hire a copywriter, and of course most of the advice and information is complete crap. So here is, I think I have some good advice on how to do this. So I'm just gonna get into it. I'm writing an article on this that's gonna be more organized. So if you don't want to watch me ramble on, then don't, and just read what's below on the site. If you're on YouTube, you got to go to the site. So yeah, so here's what not to do. Okay, especially people starting out. So again, don't be a dumbass and go to Upwork.com or Freelancer.com or any freelance site. Post a job titled "I need a high converting killer sales letter for $100 that you want to send cold traffic to, and you want to convert and make you money." That's so far from reality. It's laughable, right? It really is. It tells me that basically, most likely, people that are posting that, which is most people, they watch too many episodes of Daily V, and they try to start a company, and they discover they need a copywriter. So that's what they do. But so here's a rule that I've always had in my head when it comes to hiring copywriters. I've always had this thought in my head, but if you need to hire a copywriter, everyone needs copy, right? So how to hire a good copywriter? You can't hire a good copywriter unless you're already a large company. Want to know why? Because you have to pay a good copywriter $100,000 for a sales letter and give 5 to 10% of the sales from that sales letter or sales page, whatever, to the copywriter. Can you afford to? Do you have $100,000 to pay a copywriter? No, right? Of course you don't, because you're just starting out. Probably, if you're just starting out, like most people. Or even if you have a company, right? It's probably not very profitable and not very successful. Okay, that's most companies. So you can't afford to hire a copywriter. Okay, so when you go on these sites asking for someone to make you rich for $100 or $500 or $1,000, you're absolutely delusional, and it's laughable. It's very, very funny. Again, I'm not saying this to directly insult you, although I'm saying it to make a point. Okay, like, use your head a little bit. You want to pay someone $500 for an asset that's going to make you profit every day for years potentially, right? $500? Tell me how that makes sense. It doesn't, because that's not reality. Okay? That's what it is, and that's what it's not. Okay, so how to hire a copywriter. Again, you need copy, right? And if you've never written copy or anything, if you've never read a book about copywriting or anything, then it might be good for you to try to hire someone. But you're much better off going to Amazon and buying a copy of Cashvertising. That'll be in the article below. You're better off just going to get that book and start practicing yourself, so you can at least learn about it and get somewhat decent at it, maybe. But it's a very technical skill. Most copywriters are not copywriters; they're writers. It's a very technical, very complicated skill, and the people that do it very well, they get paid a lot of money because their copy actually produces a result and makes profit. So again, if you post a job for a sales letter or something, and someone wants to charge you $1,000 or less, I would run, because it doesn't make sense at all. It would be like posting an ad, be like, hey, yeah, I want to buy a Ferrari for $100. Okay. But people actually would respond to that, and they would claim that they have a Ferrari because they want to sell you and make $100. But you don't know what a Ferrari is. That's why you're posting a job for $100 that's why you're posting an ad for a Ferrari for $100, right? You wouldn't if you knew what a Ferrari was and that it's actually worth hundreds of thousands of dollars, right? That's the equivalent of what you're doing. Okay. So, but again, you're gonna have to hire copywriters for something eventually. Anyway, product descriptions, some type of opt-in page or something. But again, most of them are just very bad. They are. It takes a very long time to get good at copy, at writing copy, at creating offers, at research, and everything. So here's what I would suggest you do as you post your ad or your post, looking for a copywriter. You want to ask them a couple questions. One is ask them to be very specific. Okay, very, very specific. Ask them what their research process is before they start writing. Okay, very, very important. Research is a massive chunk of it, and it's arguably the most important, and most don't even do it. Okay, they'll give you every excuse in the book not to do it, but in reality, they're just lazy, or they're new at copywriting, or they just suck, which is very likely, and they just don't know that they should be doing research or anything, which doesn't make any sense, because your research tells you everything. Okay, your research tells you what your offer should be, what all the copy should be. Research tells you everything. So if you're not doing research, it just doesn't make sense. Okay, so the research process. If a copywriter tells you something that is not incredibly specific and incredibly meticulous in terms of the process they go through for research, if they are anything but that, run and do not talk to them ever. Okay? As a copywriter, you should have a ridiculously meticulous, specific, thorough process for research. If you don't, then you suck, basically. Okay? That's what you are. Okay? That's the first step in creating an offer and creating a campaign is research, and it's very thorough. It takes a week. It takes a week just to do research minimum. Okay? Madison Avenue, they take 3 months for research. Okay, they take months. They take weeks of research to create one campaign. Okay, so the research is, again, like after I'm done with my research, I have a stack of papers like this thick. Okay, it's not a one-page little document that you just fill out. Okay, it's not reality. That's not the way it works. Okay, so research. Ask them what their research process is. Okay, that's question number 1. Okay, and if you just ask that question, then you should be able to tell who's legit and who's not. And guess what? If nobody tells you anything specific or meticulous, or they don't tell you a good explanation of what they do for research, that means they all suck. Okay? Okay, copywriters don't. The people claiming to be copywriters, just because they've convinced you to hire them to write a landing page or something, that doesn't mean that they're actually good. And until you get the copy, and until you actually send traffic to that copy, you have no idea if it's good or not. Okay, because at the end of the day, if you send 1,000 clicks to whatever a copywriter does for you, and not much happens or anything, that means they suck. Most of the time, it depends on the market, depends on the offer, depends on a few things. But yeah, if you're sending, you have to send minimum 1,000 clicks to whatever campaign, but that's a huge indicator. Okay, so let's see, I wrote down a question. Yeah, so the second question I can't even remember right now, but the research process is the research question is really everything. That's the only one that you really need to ask. It tells you a lot, and that's that's about it. So again, this rule. If you need a sales letter or something, and you want to hire a good one, like, you're not gonna find a good copywriter that's gonna write you a sales piece for less than $1,000, because it doesn't make sense. Literally, again, it's the Ferrari for $1,000. Doesn't make sense. It's not a real Ferrari. Okay, it's like a knockoff Ferrari or something. Okay, it's a piece of the engine of a Ferrari. Okay, and maybe a door, not even a door. Okay, you get my point. So just these people are just incredibly delusional from I don't know, a lack of business experience, a lack of lots of things. Again, they're trying to start a company or something, and they don't have any money, of course. So they go on one of these freelancing websites, and they post a job and post like the bare minimum possible, and their expectations are ridiculously inflated. Now, clients' expectations in general are very much inflated, but these expectations are 10x the inflation of expectations, which are ridiculous. Just acknowledge, what I want you to do is acknowledge the fact that you're not going to find a good copywriter for these insanely low rates. Okay, you're not gonna find one. Again, the copywriter wouldn't make sense for the copywriter to do. So that's my take on it. Basically, you're better off, again, going to Amazon, getting cash advertising, and reading that and practice writing copy for a little bit. Do that for a month or something, but then start writing your own copy, because you're probably better off, because you're going to hire someone, you're going to expect this much, and the copywriter is probably not going to be good. That's why they're accepting a job at such a low rate. So your expectations are up here. Okay, whatever you get, you don't know if it's good or not, because you don't know what good copy looks like. That's another thing. And that'll help you hire if you know a little bit about the subject, right? So you're up here, they give you something that's way down here. You're going to get angry. You're going to blame the copywriter. You're going to give them bad feedback and all this crap. When at the end of the day, it was never their fault. It's their fault for taking the job, and that's another conversation. But at the end of the day, no, it's your fault. It's your fault because you want to buy a Ferrari for $1,000, right? So that's my take on it. Do with it what you will. And that's it for this episode of Wicked Words. Okay, Wicked Words. There it is. There it is, and that's all I got for you today. Again, article will be underneath this on the site. If you're watching on YouTube, just subscribe if you got any value out of this. If you have any questions or anything you want me to cover, if you want me to look at your marketing or anything online, I'd be happy to help. I love talking about marketing. I love helping people for the most part. If you're open to being helped, most people are not, but that's fine too. So again, that's it for today. I'll be back for another live video very soon, and I'll see you guys later.
I torture you.